Do you train your dogs to watch over the garden, or is it just their natural response?
It's a natural response, and I always pray for good dogs, and we've just been blessed with good dogs, and whenever anything shows up, my dog is on it. I mean, if a car drives out here, a door opens, I mean, she's on it. So anything coming in my yard, she lets them know that she's here. And most of them, realizing who she is, leave because, she is, a challenge to them.
Now, you don't really have too much fenced in here. I mean, the chickens and the pasture and stuff like that. But for the animals, they can come and go, but I always see them right here. Why don't they go for a walk down 5 miles down the road?
They go for walks. They don't go 5 miles, but, they know where they live, and it's a good place to live. They have adequate food. Why would you want to go somewhere else? I mean, this is a nice place to live.
Do your dogs come in at night, or do they stay outside all of the time?
My wife brings them in occasionally because she's sweet and she's kind, but when we go to bed, they're always outside because that's when the deer come in, and we need them to work for us.
And do they have like a spot, or do you have bedding for them?
She has nice big beds on the porch where they sleep, so they're out of the weather. They actually have stuff around to knock out the wind, and they have nice big beds to sleep on, so they live well here.
And what about the cats?
The cats, they make do. Cats don't need anybody. They're really independent critters. They know how to live, and they find all kinds of places to hang out. And they'll sleep in my barn, and they make do.
Okay. If you don't have cats or a dead crow, what are other methods that you can use for bird control?
I don't know. I just have never had any other. Those work, and so I haven't had to use anything else. I don't know. I guess you can shoot them, but if you're in the city, that's not going to work. So. I don't like the idea of just killing things, so I just think the deterrent works great.
Right. In the film, you mentioned in the extra bonus footage that they had on the DVD that you have used some kind of spray, some kind of hot sauce on your plants to keep the bugs away.
That was when I was in California, when I had an insect issue. My ground wasn't that well, and I would use jalapeno or serrano peppers with garlic. And I would spread it on the foliage on my apples and tangerines, and everything left because they're all gringos. They can't take that heat.
But since you've been up here and since you started
I don't have any insect issues, so there's no need for it.
Now, you've mentioned your daughter, and we've seen your son and heard from Carol too a little bit. A lot of people would like to know more about them, to see them on tape. I know this isn't their thing, but how willing are they to come out and talk to the people on the tours and that kind of stuff?
Well, if they're here, they'll talk. Well, my son, Isaac, he's a major photographer now, and he photographed that whole group that was here last time. And if they're here, they're glad to talk. It's just that they don't live here,
One of my subscribers at her grandmother's house has their garden area, but they also have a grassy, weeded area that comes over into the garden nonstop, and they can't get it to stop coming, say, down the hill or up the side. Look at this.
Railroad ties make the finest border there is. These have been here now for 34 years. They're not rotting, and opposed to what everybody tells you, the creosote do not leave those ties. They're not going into the ground. Look how nice the grass is alongside of it. Mm-hmm. And because they don't, it comes out, they last forever because they're massive and big. You can buy pressure-treated stuff, it's going to rot in a few years. This has been here 34 years. And so they're the easiest, quickest things to lay for borders. If you want to do that, you can use, concrete curb works wonderful. You make a form, make a concrete curb, or put rock or any masonry material. But I don't recommend pressure-treated stuff because they don't last. And beside that stuff is coming out of the wood, and that is toxic.
I suppose you could also just lay down cardboard and newspaper and cover it with wood chips because it looks pretty.
Yeah, and everywhere else but this one edge, all the rest of my borders over there on the orchard, I just maintain with my line trimmer. And some crawls into the wood chips, I pull it out. Pulls easy, so it's not really hard.
I'm dealing with soil that has been chemically treated for more than 30 years. Plus, she lives in a town with 2 chemical plants. Will the soil ever really be good enough to grow nutrient-dense food?
I think the Creator is amazingly redemptive, and I believe you can clean anything up with the covering. And I would just, by faith, put a covering over that stuff and start planting and just believe it's going to change and start testing it and watch it change. Because I think the Creator, everything He's created has the ability to be self-healing and restorative.
She also says that she hasn't really ever been able to grow corn there. I don't know where there is. She's been doing back to Eden for a little over a year, and it did do a little bit better. But is there something that she could do to help the corn grow better? And I'm thinking maybe like composted materials, chicken manure, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can always add, organic fertilizer to speed it up if you're in a cool place, and plant varieties that are slower, like a 60-day instead of a 90-day corn. I don't know what her conditions are, why they're not growing. But I've got corn out here, and I'm in a cool place, and this is was an old Aztec thing, and it's done fine in my orchard. And I have no problem growing corn.
So how often do you clean out your chicken pen and put the compost in your garden?
I do it every fall because that's when nature puts the covering on the ground. That's the ideal time. Usually in the fall your garden's pretty empty. Most things are out, so you got room to get into it. You're not planting anything, so it's a very convenient time, as well as after fall, it rains and snows, and all that water's going to go through that material, creating compost tea to build your soil for next spring's growth. So fall is the ideal time.
Have you done that yet, or are you about to do it?
I see all my celery over there. I got to get that eaten first, and so I've got to, I still got a lot of stuff to get out of here first. So we're still early fall, so it's probably late fall, early winter before I get to it. Just because I have so much, and and as celery is still good, I want to have it.